Hi, it's Dr. Taylor Burrows, and thanks for tuning into my channel. So I do release these videos weekly, and hopefully I will get to make more than once a week soon enough. But I talk about mental health, I talk about relationships, I talk about dating, marriage, I talk about sex. There's lots of topics that are under the umbrella of everything that I am an expert in. So basically, I have a license in mental health counseling, a license in marriage and family therapy, and a PhD in marriage and family therapy. And that's what makes me an expert clinically. But I also have a lot of experience in basically optimizing my own mental health and my experience in dating and my experience in marriage, because I'm divorced. But having that opportunity to be married, I've seen things from both sides. So today we're going to talk about the 3 layers of marriage. And the reason why this is so important to talk about is because we're not really taught how to be married in a successful way. We're just sort of expected to do it. And the same goes for dating. The same goes for sex. And for the most part, parenting as well. So we need to really understand this before we kind of jump into it. And unfortunately, people just tend to come to marriage therapy when there's a big problem, and not just a little problem, but a big problem. And then it's almost like impossible to fix it, and it becomes almost like divorce counseling. So this might help you if you're married or if you're thinking about getting married. Maybe you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, and maybe that's on the future plans. So the 3 layers of marriage, one, what comes before marriage is obviously finding the right partner. So you have to learn how to find the right partner. And I've had a few videos talking about that. So if you want to look at the history of my videos, feel free to do that. Maybe you'll find something helpful. And basically, just to summarize it, it's really about filtering. It's about developing your self-awareness to such a high extent. You know, you've come out from that sort of discovery period where you're exploring and experimenting, and you figured out what you want out of life, who you want to be. Because it's not always about who you are in regards to your origins and what your family expect of you, but who you choose to be, what actually will make you the most happy with just a grounded peace of mind and fulfillment. And for men and women, things are different. We're equal in regards to we both have equal rights to live and be safe and fulfill our happiness, but we have different biological concerns and different modes of operation and different ways that we are fulfilled. So we do have to respect that, acknowledge it, and put those ideals into practice. So I'm not going to get too far into that today because I want to get into the 3 layers of marriage, but it's important to keep in mind. So as you begin to date someone that has passed through all the important filters and it's becoming serious, maybe you're, 27, 30, whatever your age is, that is getting close to the marriage potential. You want to be considering these layers because you don't want to wait until it's too late and then you kind of have to do damage control, right? That's when it gets really tricky. And you don't really want to make things too stressful too early on, but there's kind of that sweet spot when you realize we need to talk about the serious issues, but, if we're going to go any further, we kind of have to learn how to do that without it being like a real disaster of a conversation and something that we avoid. So we have to be mature about it. We have to be adults. But you can weave some of these conversations in earlier on. You just don't want to bombard anybody with all of them too early on because it can be kind of scary and intimidating, right? You want to gradually work up to that lifelong marriage, whether it's literally marriage or whether it's domestic partnership or whatever you believe in. But it's all kind of the same if you expect to be together long term in regards to forever. So these 3 layers really are applicable to any type of relationship. It doesn't have to be marriage per se. So the 3 layers are 1, the actual intimate, romantic, sexual relationship between man and wife. And we're talking heterosexual couples here, okay? So you can apply this to a homosexual couple if you like, but I'm just going to be talking as a default to man and woman in regards to a heterosexual couple. So the intimate, romantic, sexual relationship between man and woman. That's number one. Now, number two is the relationship to each other as co-parents. So whether you're married or cohabitating, whatever the case may be, if you do have children, it's even an issue if you don't have children, or one of you wants to have children and the other one doesn't want to have children. So it's still an issue. But as parents, that's a different layer of relationship to each other. So two different dynamics. One, the intimate, romantic, sexual bond between man and wife, or husband and wife, man and woman, or as co-parents. Now, the third layer of the dynamic is the business aspect of the marriage, or if you're just living together, it's the household administration. So if you have kids, it's definitely even more complex. But even if you don't have children and you just have a household, it's like having a roommate, but even more so, right? So it's more than a roommate. Clearly, you add on all those layers and it's a spouse. But even if you just break it apart as just that one piece, because you don't have shared accounts with your roommate, right? So it does take it to a different level. So again, those three layers: romantic, sexual relationship; 2, co-parents; and 3, it's the business administration of the merger. So whether you're married or not, that merger where you have shared finances, or even if you don't have an actual bank account together, you're still going to have financial arrangements or shared funds, right? Because again, you don't have that with a roommate. You don't like go shopping together necessarily and one person pays, or you have a shared account. So in regards to a partnership, you're going to have these sort of compiled, or what do you call it, like combined funds and assets that you have to manage. Or if you do have children, then you have to figure out all the business of that, like how to take care of the children, what are the schedules. You get the drift. So what I see a lot in marriage therapy is people sort of lumping them all together and trying to figure out like what the heck is wrong, like whether there's issues with child rearing. One kid is, if you've got multiple kids, one kid is sleeping in the bed with the wife, one kid is sleeping in the other bedroom with the husband, and so the intimacy has broken down. And then they're thinking, oh my God, what's wrong with us? We're doing horribly as a married couple. I'm so unhappy. No, that's not actually the case. It's more optimistic than that. So my advice to you is to break up those 3 layers. So if you see that you're having an issue, ask yourself, wait, what layer are we dealing with? This is a co-parenting issue for the one I was just talking about. So in that case, you can say to yourself, wait a minute, we're doing okay as a married couple. We love each other. We're attracted to each other. We're not having time really to spend together, but this co-parenting issue is keeping us apart. So it has nothing to do with our actual bond to each other. So how can we increase and improve our quality time together, or manage the children in a way that maybe we allow for some of that alone time so that we can reconnect? And then the other problem that I see a lot is couples will finally get some time together, and then they go out to a nice meal or picnic in the park or whatever, and what do? They talk about the business side of the relationship. No, don't do that. You've finally gotten some time to be with each other. Be with each other. Enjoy each other. Even if you're at home and the kids are in the other room, you don't have to have sexual intercourse. Just be with each other. Be present with each other. Attend to each other. Talk to each other about adult things, but reconnect as husband and wife, as man and woman, as lovers. So important. And so that is the number one thing that I can correct when I meet with a couple in therapy, whether online or in person, is just say, you know what, you need to do 2 things. You need to have like a monthly, or even if it has to be more than that, it has to be twice a month, even if it has to be weekly, have a meeting or whatever, a get together to talk about the business side of the relationship. Like the bills and the schools and the clothes and the chores and all that sort of stuff. But then, in addition to that, then you want to have the actual date time, the quality time together, whether it's at the house or out of the house. It doesn't always have to be at nighttime. It can be in the daytime too. So be creative with that time, that quality time together where you get to reconnect as partners, as lovers. So those are the three elements. And obviously the business administration can kind of get overlapping with the co-parenting side, but recognizing that those are different roles is the most important part. Now, just as a caveat, what is, and I don't know if you were thinking about this as I was going through, that there's other layers. So there are, but they are overlapping in all of them. They weave through all three. It's two things. It's the actual friendship, just a basic fundamental friendship between the two of you. That is at the root, at the core of all three. So remembering that you have to be civil, you have to be able to problem solve, be respectful, communicate effectively, and just enjoy each other's company. Those are included in all three, right? You don't want to have a business partner that you don't like. You don't want to be parents with someone that you can't stand, which happens a lot, but let's try to avoid that. And the other part is the commitment, the actual fidelity and the commitment, the consistency, the reassurance, the reliability of being together in this, right? Because it gets really tough. It gets so tough, even without kids. And so having that commitment to the merger, which is basically what a marriage or lifelong, not life term, sounds like a prison sentence, relationship is. So knowing that that's there, you can take it for granted. You want to take it for granted. You want to trust that it's there, but you don't want to take it for granted in a sense that you take advantage of it or you lose sight of it or you neglect it. You definitely don't want to do that, but it should be something that you're both bought into 100%, not 50-50, 100 and 100 minimum. So that being said, I also want to add in a little bit of a footnote about the love languages, because I think that's an important point as well. In regards to how we see and how we are able to be effective spouses or partners to each other, we need to have empathy. We need to stop being so self-absorbed that we sort of feel like this person is an accessory in our life. They're not. It's a shared existence. So as much as it is your life, it is their life too. And I believe that the man is in more of a leadership position in a healthy relationship, and the woman is a co-leader, is another way that I like to say it, right? Like captain and co-captain. So yes, that might be embedded into the dynamic of the relationship, but it's also very important to realize that it is equal. And it's just a matter of the types of roles and responsibilities that you serve in the marriage. And you are serving each other. You both are valuing each other and contributing to each other's happiness. That's just how it is. So in regards to that, it's not always about me, how can I be happy? But what am I doing to support your happiness? And how am I facilitating your fulfillment in life? You have to look at the value that you bring to the relationship, just as lovers and as friends, right? So in regards to that, if you think about the 5 love languages, it's a really good resource if you want to look it up. You can do a little free assessment online, and that can be fun to do as a couple. But they have 5 love languages, and they are boiled down to touch, physical touch, and then there's quality time, which we've talked about. There's also acts of service, there's gift giving, and there's words of affirmation. So those are the 5 love languages. And you can find out what love language or love languages you speak from. But basically it's part of your personality and what you're looking for or how you express love to your loved ones. So a lot of times we assume what we want or what we're looking for and how we express love is what the other person does, when it's not. So when you realize they express love through quality time or gift giving, and I express love through touch and words of affirmation, it's not that you have to change for each other, but you want to attend to that. So I want to make sure that I make an effort in the ways that she expresses love or vice versa. And then you can actually meet each other's needs. Now, not all needs need to be met by your spouse. You need to be able to meet the majority of your needs. If not, your goal should be meet all my needs. And then this is icing on the cake of my happiness. So be able to take care of yourself first, and then be able to share those responsibilities with each other. And remember those 3 layers. So it is the romantic sexual side of the relationship, then it's the business side of the relationship, and if you have kids, the co-parenting side. So I hope this was really useful to you, and please give me a thumbs up or press the subscribe button, and then you can get notifications of all my new videos. And please read the episode notes, and you'll have links to all of my assets on social media, my newsletter, which is free. I have a podcast as well. And if you want to book a session with me, whether you're a couple or an individual, you can always reach out and book a one-on-one or a couple session with me online. So hit me up, email me, reach out, leave a comment, let me know what you're thinking. Okay? Ciao.